Tonight on News 5 Live, missing couple found dead in the Belize district after search parties combed the area. Mass protests by unions near Prime Minister's home in Orange Walk. And the phased reopening of the border has multiple agencies gearing up for May 31st arrivals. Details of these stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast.
Fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime. While with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
With the touch of a finger, we can easily unlock our phones and securely gain access to our data. This technology is called biometrics, and the Social Security Board is introducing fingerprint recognition to make transactions and handling of your sensitive data secure, fast, accurate, and convenient. Is your identity safe? Fingerprint recognition will keep your Social Security record secure and confidential while making your access fast and easy. It protects your identity. Is your name a common one? Fingerprint recognition uses your unique characteristics, ensuring your hard-earned benefits go directly to you, the rightful owner. Tired of all the paperwork? Fingerprinting makes this hassle-free. Your convenience and your information security is our priority. Fingerprint recognition coming soon. Social Security at your fingertips.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Friday, May 21st. I am Sabrina Daly. Just after midday today, a family's worst fears were confirmed. The bodies of a Canadian Belizean and his wife, reported missing earlier this week, were discovered off a dirt path in Belize District. Even as the family now has closure, there are still so many unanswered questions. News 5's Dwayne Moody was out with the search party today.
About 300 yards off this dirt path, just behind the Western Paradise community in Belize District, the gruesome discovery was made. 50-year-old Leticia Carrillo Frankel and her 69-year-old husband Mark were found dead. They had been killed and their bodies dumped in the area. This American footballer in a blue face mask marked the entrance and drew the attention of a member of the search party who were out from as early as 7:30 this morning searching for the couple.
My mom have 12 kids, but my niece, my nephew, all of them are out here trying to find my sister. Yes, my other sister, they're out here too.
The couple was last seen alive on Tuesday at their Sunset Park home off the George Price Highway. The family realized that something was wrong when phone calls made to Leticia on Wednesday went unanswered. A concerned Consuelo Carrillo traveled to the house to make a frightening discovery.
I work for her, right? I do some housekeeping. So that is when I realized something was definitely wrong. So Thursday, me and Miss Bertha, we came. I tell her, you know something, I feel something definitely is wrong because my sister not answered the phone. And when I went in the house, they have all her clothes in her drawer. They have it all ransacked. All her clothes was out on the ground. And the dog was at the back. But my sister usually leave, when she goes out, she leave the dog inside of the house. I don't really could tell her who went in the house. But they had camera in the house. And the person that went in the house, they rip out the modem. But maybe if they could get the camera and find out, maybe they could get some evidence, you know. That
same day, the Frankel's 2018 GMC Terrain was discovered abandoned in a ditch off the John Smith Link Road, about a mile or two from where the bodies were found.
It looked like they were going to take the white GMC Terrain because they have a little ditch back there with water. And it looked like they may have tried over, but it just parked like they were going over. And in the gas tank, they had a shirt stuck. It looked like they may have blown up the vehicle But I know maybe they must never get a chance to do it, though. But I'm going to tell you something. My sister was not in the vehicle. I couldn't find her there. She nor her husband was not there.
Call it a sister's intuition, but prior to the gruesome discovery, Carrillo says she just felt the couple had already been killed.
I don't think she's alive now because it's too much days. I mean, I don't think she's alive now, though. But we just pray to God, no? She's still alive. But I don't think she's alive because I just say that because I'm not too sure neither.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
As we said, the gruesome discovery was made just after midday today. This was one day after their vehicle was found abandoned in an area off the John Smith Link Road. A post-mortem examination conducted on the bodies of Mark and Leticia Frankel certified that the couple was shot dead before their bodies were dumped. This afternoon, Commissioner of Police Chester Williams told the media that evidence suggests that the Frankels were victims of a home invasion.
Today, again, the police resumed search along with residents of the area, and sometime this afternoon, the two bodies were found in a separate feeder road about 2 miles off the John Smith Road. And upon inspection of the body, do have injuries consistent with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. The bodies have since been transported to the medical lab on the Boom Road, where a post-mortem examination will be conducted. We do have a number of persons that we are looking at, and the police is surely going to conduct an intense investigation with a view to ascertain who is responsible and bring him or those persons to justice.
We're told their home was ransacked. Is there a robbery element?
Well, it's consistent with a burglary, yes.
Is there anything from the couple's life, particularly the husband, that may give police an indication as to why they were targeted? Any criminal history or involvement?
No, we don't have anything to suggest that either of those persons are involved in any criminal activities. And like I said, the motive at this time seems to be a burglary.
Stefan Castillo was murdered on Thursday, and today police say that they have one person in custody and are looking for several others. Officers were also able to retrieve the gun they believe was used in the deadly shooting. According to Commissioner of Police Chester Williams, the killers pounced on Castillo simply because he was in the wrong neighborhood while trying to make his living.
Police were in the area and the police pursued a vehicle. And during the pursuit, a firearm was shown from the vehicle, which the police recovered. It was a 9mm pistol, believed to be the weapon of choice in committing the murder. Police later intercepted the vehicle, and inside that vehicle was one Aurel Leslie. And Aurel Leslie is currently in police custody. We're still looking for 5 other persons who we believe were also in the vehicle with him. And those persons are currently being treated as a suspect in respect of that particular murder. But the investigators are going to do what needs to be done to see if we can tie the evidence together with a view to levy charges against him. But at the very least, we suspect that he should be charged with the offense, with the firearm-related offense, while we do the investigation on the murder. He was indeed working outside his zone. And for the most part, you see a man trying to make an honest living, working. You should never go and target a man who is trying to make an honest living. If it were that they had gone and go after the person who did the killing, that would have been a different story. But to go after someone who is, yes, the young man may be affiliated, but he was not the one who was involved in the previous murder. So why go after him? So it just goes to show the extent to which some of these young men would go just to prove themselves or to prove a message. And we have to do something about it.
So as you heard Compal Williams, Castillo was one of those individuals involved in a recent killings, and many have been targeted simply because of where he lived and whom he associated with. Williams says that they expected the retaliations and that police are trying to deal with all the territories where there are gang feuds. The reality is that the killers are firing shots indiscriminately and lives are at risk.
Since the murder of Jury, we did anticipate that there would be some retaliation, And if you would notice that the Martins area where we had expected retaliation between Bakalan and PIV, we have kept that area sterile, and for the most part, the police have been conducting intense operation within that area. But what you see happen is that they left the area and went all the way to Farbers Road, which is outside of the area of concern. And so it is indeed a challenge, because you would know that we are really stretched in terms of our human resources. We still have to maintain a heavy presence in the downtown Belize City between Taylor's Alley and George Street, because the tension still exists. And if you go into that area, you will see that we do have heavy presence in that area. And so with that area, we also have the Bannock, which is again another hot area because of the fact that Bannock and Mayflower continue to go at war with each other. So again, in that area, we have to maintain a strong presence. And now we have the Martins area, which is an area twice the size of George Street and Taylor's Alley put together. So it is extremely difficult, but we are doing what we can to be able to police the area with the resources we do have. What we did since yesterday was to detain a number of the players who are involved and who we believe may get involved, because it would appear as if it is just a matter for these two groups to just go and take out anybody who they believe belong to the other side. And so we have to do what we can. But I need to appeal to parents that they have the most important role to play, because they are the ones who control and know what their children are doing.
As a point of correction, Castillo wasn't one of those involved in the recent killings. And so what's next for crime? Can police curb the spate of gun violence that has erupted in the city over the last several days? Williams says they have multiple operations in place and are exploring the use of intervention through the Behavioral Modification Center. He notes that the option of a state of emergency to quell the shootings and killings may also be reintroduced. Compal Williams says all options remain on the table.
We cannot always be talking, and there must come a time where talking must stop, and we must take more drastic measures to ensure that these young men get the message. I know you're going to ask about SOE, and I have said before that while, yes, I personally do not like the SOE, but sometimes, as a measure of last resort, it is the only thing that these young men understand that is going to put them in line. So at the end of the day, we are going to do what needs to be done. I am in direct communication with my minister. We're discussing the matter. We have every option on the table at this time. And so how we go from here will be dictated by how these young men continue to behave on the streets, because we cannot and will not sit and see them continue to do what they are doing and hold the rest of our people hostage. It cannot happen.
And while police are busy at work trying to put out fires in the gang-ridden communities, cops haven't stopped their routine work on the streets, and their stop and searches have taken weapons off the streets in recent days. Commissioner Chester Williams tells us more about two separate incidents where weapons were confiscated.
The police were patrolling in the Blue Marley Drive area when they saw a group of young men who were acting suspicious in a vehicle. That led the police to pursue them, and during the pursuit, they fired shots at the police returned fire and were able to intercept them. Thankfully, nobody was injured during the process, but police were able to recover the firearm that was used, and the persons concerned are detained and will be charged by the police for the firearm-related offences. Last night, the police conducted a checkpoint on the Philip Golson Highway, and they stopped and searched a red pickup truck. Inside that vehicle were two persons, a male and a female. The female indeed happened to be a nurse from Kamalote village, as well as the male who is from that area. A search of the vehicle led to the discovery of two firearms and a number of ammunition. Also found was 157 grams of cannabis. So those two individuals, I believe by now, have been charged by police and will be going before the court on Monday.
Coming up, rain or shine, Belize's unions keep up the pressure. This time they go in search of a prime minister missing from the negotiations. The images from Sugar City when we return.
Hello friends, this is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck." Mother is one of the sweetest words this side of heaven. There is no one who holds, controls, or determines the destiny of our country like our mothers. Napoleon once said, "She who rocks the cradle rules the world." Proverbs says, "Honoring your mother and father's teachings will crown you with grace and be a chain of honor around your neck." A man stopped at a flower shop to order some flowers to be wired to his mother who lived 200 miles away, and as he got out of his car, he noticed a girl sitting on the curb sobbing. He asked her what was wrong, and she replied, "I wanted to buy a red rose for my mother, but I only have 75 cents and a rose costs $2. The man smiled and said, "Come on in, sugar, and I will buy you a rose for your mother." He placed his order for his mother and bought a rose for the girl. As they were leaving, he offered the girl a ride, and she responded, "Yes, please take me to my mother." And she directed him to a cemetery where she placed the rose on a freshly dug grave. The man returned to the flower shop, canceled the wire order, picked up the flowers, and drove 200 miles to his mother's home. Tributes are but empty phrases, if in words alone they dwell. We must live the praises due her, if we'd honor Mother well. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
I need data for finish my homework, man. Where can I buy credit around here?
You have insufficient funds.
Shucks! I need a call for help.
Yes, did you credit me?
Need credit but short on cash? Or can't make it to the store? Digi's got you covered with the new Credit Me service. Get credit now, pay later. Just send Get Credit to 456. No need to fret, just use Digi's Credit Me.
What are the unions fighting for? What exactly do they want? Government, recognizing the impact of the pay cut on public officers, agreed to reduce the work week by 5 hours, more than 10% of the standard work week. GOB also agreed that the banks and lending institutions would be lenient on payments owed for mortgages or other loans held by affected public officers. Additionally, both the DFC and National Bank would offer mortgages to affected public officers at special rates. GOB even offered a land credit of 50% of the salary adjustment, which public officers could use to purchase national land or to pay off fees owed on land owned. For over 3 months, GOB has been meeting with the unions. 3 months. And even with those commitments, the unions are still fighting. What do they really want? Every day that the unions strike, they are hurting Belizeans. Belizeans who want to work. Belizeans who need to work. This isn't a game. This needs to end now.
Introducing Edam A cheese, the A+ Dutch cheese to hit the Belizean market. As the name says, it is of A-class quality, the best Dutch cheese in Belize. Edam A cheese is creamier, less salty, and simply more delicious. Don't be left out. Get your A cheese at a supermarket near you. A cheese, exclusively distributed by Unitex Company Limited. Call us at 610-3626 or 610-8910. Follow us on Facebook at Unitex Belize.
Want to leave a lasting impact when you travel? Then travel locally. Make memories to treasure for a lifetime while making a difference. Make protected areas your next travel destination. With over 25 protected areas under the APAMO umbrella, the possibilities for adventure and education are endless. You can bond with friends and family while trekking through the jungles to discover natural pools and breathtaking views. Or take that snorkeling trip to the magnificent world of coral gardens and marine life. Then camp under the stars to end off that perfect day in nature. By visiting protected areas, you are helping to preserve valuable plant and animal life. You're building local communities and you're keeping our natural and cultural heritage alive. You have that power. Travel locally and make an impact. We invite you to visit a protected area near you and discover the beauty of Belize's wild places. APAMO, the voice of Belize's protected areas.
They came from all over the country, some as far as rural Toledo, to send a resounding message to Prime Minister Briceño and his government. The union sent that message during what may be the largest gathering of teachers and public officers since the beginning of industrial action in late April. They walked and sang through the main streets of Orange Walk town before culminating at the People's Stadium. Throughout it all, they remained resolute in their position that government must adopt good governance measures.
When do we want transparency? No. When do we want good governance? No. When do we want uncock? No. Because the power of the people is greater than the people in power.
The unions descended en masse on Sugar City today, with busloads of teachers and public officers arriving from distant reaches of the country. Orange Walk is the hometown of the Prime Minister. Since he has been noticeably absent from the negotiating table, they've decided to bring the message to the source.
Our teachers are saying that the message must be sent, and today was that day for us to send that message. We are in the correct place, and so we felt that being here, that we would have been heard.
It's easily the largest show of strength since the strike began several weeks ago. On record as the longest work stoppage for teachers, the Public Service Union is also on board and has been participating in work-to-rule activities in support of the cause.
We are out here today. We are hoping that the numbers will encourage the government to come back around the table, because we want to solve this thing as much as they want to solve it. We don't want to continue injuring the country. We know that it is causing some damage, but this is what these actions are all about. This is the only way that the people can be heard. The law allows it, and that's how the law balances the power between the employer and the employee by giving us this right to industrial actions when we are not satisfied.
Instead of placards, the Nurses Association of Belize, whose membership is made up of frontline health workers, carried large brown pods that we colloquially refer to as stinking toe bukut. The symbolism is quite apparent.
Bukut has been following me throughout this process. And it just goes to show that whether red or blue, all we always end up getting is bukut. We always get the dirty end of the deal. It's time for our people to use bukut as a museum piece. Put it behind us. And let us get good governance. Let us get UNCAC. Let us get whistleblowers. Let us get all of these things, anti-nepotism laws. These things are available. It's just for them to go through it and adapt it. But none of them want to do it. Because if I make a law to chastise you, then when it's your turn, that same law will chastise me. So they're dragging their feet.
Notwithstanding the threat of having one's salary docked for participating in a strike beyond May 14th, government workers and teachers have decided to stand up for what they believe is fair and just. According to PSU President Gerald Henry, this type of activism is not limited to Belize.
We are all talented Belizeans here in this country, so we know when it is that we deserve better. We have to fight for it sometimes, but that's where it goes. It doesn't happen only in Belize. This is not a political movement. It is a people movement. It happens in Belize, it happens in the US, it happens across the world. So there should be no surprise. They shouldn't be attacking us as if though we are politicians. These things happen around the world.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isana Cayetano.
This morning, the perimeter around the Prime Minister's Dunn Street residence in Orange Walk Town was roped off with caution tape. There was also heavy police presence in the neighborhood in anticipation of protesters entering the area. While today's demonstration was without incident, teachers and public officers who participated in the protest removed the cordon and proceeded in the direction of the PM's home. Chanting their slogans, they stood in front of the residence for a few minutes before moving off peacefully. Afterwards, we got a comment from both union leaders as well as the Commissioner of Police.
I honestly can't put myself in their mind as to why it was blocked off. It could be that, the Prime Minister, just like how he doesn't want to engage us, personally, he doesn't want us around his castle. We are not violent people. We have been doing this for how long now, Brother Isani? And there's been absolutely nothing broken, except maybe their pride, but that's no real harm done there.
Were you guys at all discouraged this morning when you found out that the PM's perimeter in terms of his residence was locked off from you guys?
Oh, none at all. Not at all.
The actions of the teachers continue to be one that is, to some extent, against the law. They're picketing, they're demonstrating without any permit. They are going about in large crowds above what the quarantine regulations stipulates. And we continue to exercise restraint because we really and truly want to avoid any sort of confrontation with them, because a confrontation is not going to do other side any good.
But if they remove a barrier, they're looking for trouble, sir.
Yes, but again, you see, the police continue to see how we can exercise restraint. And may I say that the Prime Minister have been very, very much patient as well, because even when we discuss, he have said to me, he said, Commissioner, if they want to pass my house, I don't have an issue with it, right? But we have seen what had happened in the past. One time I went by the former Prime Minister house, Said Musa, and they stoned his home. We have seen where there have been actions done, maybe not by the union members themselves, but their followers, where they step out of line and do things that is totally uncalled for or criminal.
After 14 months, Belize's land borders will reopen on May 31st. But much to the disappointment of many, only visitors will be initially allowed to enter the country. Belizeans will have to wait a while longer until they can cross into neighboring countries. But with Thursday's cabinet announcement, concerns were raised about the increasing number of COVID-19 cases in Mexico and what will be required of tourists when they arrived at the various borders. News 5's Paul Lopez spoke to CEO at the Ministry of Tourism and Diaspora Relations, Nicole Solano, to get some answers.
The cabinet made a decision to open land borders for tourists beginning May 31st, and that's for tourists only. So it's a phased approach where tourists would come in under specific conditions. It's not open for everybody. It's not open for Belizeans. It's not open for in transit. It is open specifically for tourists who come in under specific conditions. Any tourist that has a negative COVID test, similar to the airport, would be able to come in. They have to be able to show a negative PCR test taken within 72 hours of arrival, or 24 hours of arrival with a rapid antigen test. So if they don't have that, they would be able to test on arrival at the land borders. But they have to be able to prove that they are COVID negative in order to come in. Anybody that tests positive would not be able to enter the country.
Phase 2 of the land border reopening will allow for foreign tourists and visitors of friends, family, and relatives. There is no timeline on how long each of the phases for reopening will take.
Basically, we are looking at what phase 1 would require. We're working, of course, with the Ministry of Health, Immigration, Customs, BAHA. There's several agencies involved that we need to work through the situation, make sure that it happens safely and in accordance with the protocols. Opening the land borders is not an easy task. It's not something that we are taking lightly at all. It's taken a lot of discussion. We've been trying to do it for a long time, and it has been delayed, but we're at the point now where we feel we can safely open for tourism, and that will be the first phase. Depending on how that works, we would then have a better indication of when we can move to phase 2. If it doesn't work, we also reserve the right to close the borders down.
Notwithstanding the government of Belize's effort to reopen land borders, international news outlets are reporting a steady increase of COVID-19 cases in the state of Quintana Roo, Mexico.
It is a huge concern, and it is definitely something that we have considered with the Ministry of Health and Wellness, because looking at the cases both in Mexico and Guatemala is a major concern. However, we the protocols in place. We know that the number of tourists that come in under those protocols are very low. If you look at the PGIA, the majority of the people coming in through the airport right now are coming in from the US. The US has a high number of cases, yet the people that we have coming in there are very low. The numbers we have coming in there, positive is very low.
Land border tourism accounted for up to 14% of the tourism market back in 2019. Belize's land borders were closed in March of 2020. Today, CEO Solano said the government of Belize is more confident that land borders can be reopened in a safe manner.
We will have the people who feel that it is necessary for tourism and economic recovery, and we'll have the people who feel we need to stay shut down because we want to eliminate any possible risk of having anybody enter with COVID, and it's completely understandable, both sides. So what we've tried to do is have a balanced approach and look very carefully at how we can have a responsible and safe opening for tourism, because our stakeholders need it. Economic recovery right now is of grave concern, and it is something that we need to focus on in a safe manner with all of the parties and all of the agencies involved. So we feel we can do it. We feel that we have given it a considerable amount of attention.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
The temporary travel ban on persons traveling from India and Bangladesh will also apply to the reopening of land borders. The much larger issue of border security arises now too, as many see this as an open invitation to enter Belize, especially through illegal crossings. CEO Solano says the ministry and partnering agencies are aware of these potential problems.
Well, as you know, border security is a much bigger issue beyond the tourism topic, no? We in tourism cannot pretend for a minute that we can solve all of these problems. We are cognizant of those issues, and we know that making a declaration of opening the borders is going to mean that people will think they can come in. We feel confident in the agencies. We feel confident in the people at the borders. We've had several meetings with all of the agencies at many different levels, and that is only the start. We have to continue doing that over the next couple of weeks, and of course, as things continue to reopen, we'll have to tweak and pay very close attention and address things as we go. But we feel confident in our people at the border and within the agencies that we should be able to manage this.
After the break, a brand new fire station for Belmopan. The 3-year effort behind the new facility when we come back. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
Let the adventure begin with a bottle of Caribbean rum brought to you by Koyo's Distillery Limited.
Laying the foundation to get where we are today. Home Protector Insurance has evolved, keeping pace with an ever-changing world. Stepping into the future, changing the Belizean experience, giving you what you need, when you need it. Home Protector Insurance. If it's worth something, insure it.
Smart continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to Smart, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardena village. We really do appreciate it.
Smart continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your Smart broadband with Smart mobile services. Smart, bringing people together.
I'm a Belizean traveler.
There's so much to see in our country.
Places to just relax and unwind.
Adventures for the bold.
We're Belizean travelers. Are you?
What are the unions fighting for? What exactly do they want? They complain about ministers' salaries and allowance, so ministers cut salaries by 15% and allowances by 50%. Teachers complain about high cost of internet, so government negotiated data package discounts of 50%. They complain that taxes weren't being collected, so government established an integrated tax recovery unit tasked with aggressive recovery of all lawfully due outstanding tax arrears. Everything public officers have complained about, government has addressed. For over 3 months, GOB has been meeting with the unions. 3 months, and even with those commitments, the unions are still fighting. What do they really want? Every day that the unions strike, they are hurting Belizeans. Belizeans who want to work. Belizeans who need to work. This isn't a game. This needs to end now.
Why, Tony?
Why, kid, what are going on, man?
I'm actually going to see we can need to buy a stack of them plastic plates and cups for my grocery shop because I run low.
Boy, I stopped importing that thing since April 15th, you know. And I just ran out to the last batch, must have been like 3 weeks back, you know.
Man, do I usually have anything? What are you going on?
Check this, right? Under the new law, we ban all single-use plastics, so that the cups, plates, forks, spoons, and knives, all of that. Since April 15th, can't import none of them. Starting January 15, 2021, you can't manufacture them. April 15, 2021, you can't sell them. And after July 14, 2021, if you get catch with any other thing, you will get fined.
Me never know this. I guess I have to make some changes then. I have to make the customers know that anything not available. Anyways, bro. Thanks, man.
No problem, man. Take care.
As police officers, we are expected to continue to carry out our duties, trying our best to uphold and also to enforce the health regulations. The police department has an important role in the overall fight against this pandemic. We have been affected greatly as frontline workers, but now we have a vaccine to help us move forward as a country. I believe in the COVID-19 vaccine. I will take the vaccine when it's my turn. I urge you to take it too. Hashtag Get Vaccinated Belize.
It is my time
to protect your life.
Don't wait to vaccinate.
I believe in the COVID-19 vaccine.
Do not hesitate, Belize. Vaccinate. Be COVID-19 safe.
The vaccine is the best way to protect lives.
Don't wait. Vaccinate.
If you care, love them,
Protect them.
vaccinate them.
The rainy season seems to already be upon us. That usually means increased flooding in low-lying areas of Belize City. The Ministry of Infrastructure, Development and Housing is working to alleviate this problem on the south side through a $20 million loan secured from the Inter-American Development Bank back in 2018. According to Belize City Mayor Bernard Wagner, works to address drainage in the flood-prone areas of the city began under the previous administration, and a protective work package 2 will begin in June. Chief Engineer at the Ministry of Infrastructure Development provided details today.
It consists principally of some earthworks, of course, that we have to deal with. The canals in Belize City, we need to clean them. Some are already clean, some are lined and all that. This is a continuation of it. We are cleaning out the collapsed Collet Canal section between Caesar Ridge Bridge to the seaside. We'll rebuild that canal. It will, of course, be on pile foundation. It's a concrete line canal that we'll put there. We'll also put an Archimedes screw pump there. Again, because of the level of Belize City, there will be need to pump out water at times when we want to minimize and alleviate the incidence of flooding. The pumps will work along with the sluice gates because that can open up to allow water in or out. All right? Of course, in this case, it's to allow water to come out, and where necessary is to prevent water from the seaside to come back in. That's the principle behind the screw pump and the sluice gates in Belize City. We'll also be building up the pump house that goes along with the screw pump, a siltation basin, because we have to look about the sustenance of this project. Of course, sedimentation will build up close to the seaside near the pump station, and so a silt basin will help us to try do our maintenance. We'll also to try address the concerns of residents in the area is to build a boat slip, because if you notice in the area we did an old dilapidated boat slip. We'll be building a boat slip for 4 boats to accommodate 4 boats. We'll be landscaping the general area and also rehabilitating the old fish market that exists there. The old fish market is not in use.
Mayor Wagner says areas like Orange Street, which usually experiences significant floods, are already seeing less of this since the first series of works were done in the area. Chief Engineer Lennox Bradley says these upgrades were expected to significantly uplift the living conditions of city residents living in these flood-prone areas. The project was contracted to Medina's Construction Limited. It has a price tag of $8,312,000. And while there may be those questioning this significant investment in infrastructure, Bradley argues for the project's benefits.
I think residents in that area will benefit immensely from this project, because flooding, we all know that flooding sometimes affects your household effects, and the government has to step in to try replace these household effects that the vulnerable people in that area lose. It's in the south side of Belize City, so we have residents that really needs the help of the government, and so this project is of immense value to them. One thing that I'd like to mention here, it's we all know that people are looking at the impact of infrastructure project, the costs, and whether the funds that are available for road projects and drainage projects can be used in a more beneficial manner to the public. But however, looking at all those concerns of the public out there, and looking at the benefits, along with the spin-off benefits from this project, the new administration has decided to continue with this project. This project was led to tender on 2 different occasions, and we had an evaluation team comprising of various evaluators from various ministries that looked at the bids that we had received, and Medina's Construction Limited was the lowest evaluated bidder.
The city of Belmopan now has a new fire station as a result of a partnership with the U.S. Southern Command Humanitarian Assistance Program. The new station was dedicated today and handed over to the National Fire Service of Belize. According to the U.S. Embassy, the state-of-the-art building worth $1.7 million Belize dollars will be the central location for emergency service responders. The fire station contains a garage, sleeping quarters, kitchen, training room, and office space. A backup generator and filling stations for water tanks are also provided. The handover is the culmination of 3 years of collaboration between the U.S. Southern Command, the Louisiana National Guard Corps, and the Ministry of Sustainable Development, Climate Change, and Disaster Risk Management. This project is one in a series of U.S. government investments over the last year that has contributed to the enhancement of Belize's emergency response infrastructure and capacity to expand emergency services to over 90,000 residents. Police in the Cayo district have charged 2 members of the Belize Coast Guard and a laborer with rape. The victim, a 25-year-old woman, reported that the incident happened on May 15th in a village in the district. She says they forced her to have intercourse against her will. Glenn Jones, Japheth Jones, and Ian Stain had been detained for questioning, and today they were charged. On Thursday, police responded to a robbery reported on the San Felipe Road in the Toledo district. The driver of a Bowen & Bowen delivery truck, Lloyd Tyndall of Big Falls Village, reported that just after 3 p.m., he and his co-workers were leaving Santa Ana Village when 2 masked men came out of the bushes and held them at gunpoint. Tyndall and his crew got out, and the robbers stole an undisclosed amount of money, then headed towards the Jacinto Junction. Police investigations continues. When we return, protecting biodiversity is protecting Belize. Andrea Polanco reports when we come back.
Hello Belize. You may not be aware of the new travel requirements set in place by the Center of Disease Control and Prevention. Passengers traveling to the U.S. must present a negative COVID test or a documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to travel to the U.S. In light of this, Maya, in partnership with Caring Hands Clinic, have established testing centers in all their municipal airports. Caring Hands Antigen Test Center is operational in San Pedro, Belize City, Dangrega, Placencia, and Hopkins. These testing facilities are staffed by licensed healthcare professionals, including doctors, registered nurses, and nurse practitioners. Testing is done using Abbott rapid test devices that are FDA approved and made in the USA. The service is safe, fast, affordable, and the close proximity of the centers makes them convenient. Walk-ins are welcomed, but appointments are encouraged. If you would like to make an appointment, please feel free to do so at your appointment, get tested, and in 15 minutes, you can get back to your vacation.
I need data to finish my homework, man. Where can I buy credit around here?
You have insufficient funds.
Shucks! I need a call for help.
Please recharge and try again.
When you're lost, when you're scared, when you're broke beyond repair, you can lean on me. You can lean on me.
Yes! Did you credit me?
Need credit but short on cash? Or can't make it to the store? Digi's got you covered with the new Credit Me service. Get credit now, pay later. Just send Get Credit to 456. No need to fret, just use Digi's Credit Me.
On International Day for Biodiversity, it is easy for a country like Belize with a long history of protecting our natural resources to celebrate. In fact, there is a network of more than 110 protected areas countrywide, keeping 61% of our forested lands intact. News 5's Andrea Polanco reports on why Belize's biodiversity matters.
In Belize, our economy is built on the foundation of robust biodiversity, from agriculture to tourism. Our existence as a people is dependent on healthy and vibrant ecosystems because our resources provide us with food, water, clothing, and even the air we breathe. Although these resources are important to our livelihood and by extension our survival, they're under extreme pressure.
Some of the main challenges or threats to biodiversity in relation to the Belizean context includes deforestation. It includes forest fragmentation, pollution. We also have the threat of unsustainable tourism. Tourism relies heavily on our natural resources. We offer an ecotourism-based product. However, there are impacts to the resources. Transboundary incursions is also another threat that we've been facing for years, especially along the western border, and also invasive species.
And because the mismanagement of biodiversity through harmful actions such as uncontrolled habitat destruction and hunting species to extinction can have lasting consequences, since the 1940s, Belize began to establish reserves like the Mountain Pine Ridge Forest Reserve in 1944. Today, the preservation of Belize's biodiversity is achieved through the establishment and maintenance of the National Protected Areas System, which covers a little over 45% of the country's landmass. And these days, a special unit called the National Biodiversity Office was set up 1 year ago to lead with the regulation, oversight, and management of approximately half of the National Protected Areas System.
And it was established to coordinate and champion the implementation of our National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan, and to coordinate efforts related to protected areas management and biodiversity at the national level. We also play a key role in terms of coordinating our reporting and our commitments to the Convention on Biological Diversity, a convention which Belize became a party to in 1992. We have a team of approximately 7 staff. So I ensure that we have those plans strategically aligned with our objectives and priorities, ensuring that we have the financial resources and physical resources, capacities required to implement the work that is mandated.
And to help get the work done, the National Biodiversity Office has reconvened the National Protected Areas Advisory Council. Their collective work will help to guide the preservation and sustainable use of biodiversity that is needed to guarantee water and food security, as well as the use of resources in their role in climate change response.
This is an important body that would oversee and provide direction as it pertains to decisions relevant to the management of protected areas across the system of protected areas in Belize. So it's a platform that brings together multiple agencies directly involved in protected areas management, who would then provide the direction and the technical expertise needed to make informed management decisions for the improved management effectiveness of protected areas in Belize.
But at the heart of the work of the protection and sustainable use of our natural resources are the Belizean people. Director of the National Biodiversity Office, Hannah St. Luce Martinez, says that it's important that as we observe International Day for Biodiversity, Belizeans understand that we're part of the solution for nature.
We can do a lot more in terms of keeping ourselves informed of what are the challenges, the policies, and the regulations related to biodiversity use and management. Though I recognize that there are certain cultural needs, we must recognize that our resources are not bottomless wells. And so it is that we need to raise that consciousness, no? that we must value and that we must safeguard our resources. This isn't only the job of the technicians and the persons within the offices. These resources are here for the well-being of each and every one of us. And I would want to see us take more ownership of our resources. I believe our people should also push for those regulations that allow them to have sustainable use, because it's not to lock up the resources either. I'm looking forward to the day when we recognize the fact that these sites, these resources can actually provide that livelihood that we need. We saw that through the pandemic, we've seen tourism come to a halt, come to a standstill. And now we see so many persons jobless, you know. Our resources provide that opportunity for us to feed our families, but we must always recognize that it must be done sustainably. So I challenge every parent out there to speak to their kids, no? To instill in them that pride, that being that custodian of our natural resources.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.
When the Briceño administration took office, a hold was placed on the issuance of short-term logging permits and long-term sustainable management licenses to evaluate the situation on the ground. And as it turned out, there was unsustainable logging happening, leading to a shortage of timber. This was compounded by forest fires and hurricanes. In an interview with Minister of Sustainable Development, Climate Change and Disaster Risk Management, Orlando Habet says that the government has had to issue licenses for the importation of hard and soft woods.
The department has issued what they term salvage licenses, so that you can take out those logs that were affected by the fire or by hurricane, so that we don't lose it. So at least you can recover it. The problem though is that from 2015 to 2020 we have seen a drastic reduction in the amount of logs that have been turned into lumber, and so there's a shortage of about somewhere close to 4 million more feet per year. That's including pine lumber. So a few years back the government had instituted a policy where they have started to issue licenses for the importation of pine lumber. But now we took to Cabinet a proposal to also issue licenses for the importation of hardwoods, because there is also a requirement and a need for hardwood apart from the softwood, which is pine. And government has approved that, so we will now go through the protocol and the requirements and that people have to go through to be able to get it.
According to Minister Habet, the previous government has issued licenses to persons not even involved in the logging business. The new Briceño administration is going to put more controls on short-term licenses that he says have been destructive.
We had several people come to ask and request for logging licenses, and even though we had put it on hold, we realized that because of COVID, there's a demand, and then people need a living. It's part of their livelihood. It's something that they have been accustomed to. So, but we have, whatever we do from now going forward will be sustainable logging. But also what we are also instituting a policy to phase out the export of our exotic woods, because the little bit of mahogany that we have, much of it is being exported. And then you have the rosewood and sericote and all the exotic beautiful woods, and they are just exported as flitches or sometimes as raw sawn lumber. And our policy now is, if you're going to export on a phased out basis, it will be that you have to add value to that lumber before you take it out.
The Coastal Zone Management Authority and Institute, in partnership with the Fisheries Department and the Great Barrier Reef Foundation, has launched the Resilient Reefs Initiative in Belize. It's a global project created to support 5 of the world's most valued World Heritage Reef sites. The goal is to bring together local communities, reef managers, and resilience experts to develop new solutions for combating the effects of climate change and other local threats. Next steps for the initiatives are stakeholder engagement and resilience assessment to identify priorities for building resilience in Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System and coastal communities that depend on reef resources. Belize has named Colleen Eck to assume the role of Chief Resilience Officer. The initiative has also committed over $700,000 US to implement priority actions in Belize. Just ahead, the National Garifuna Council to meet virtually and Commonwealth Day observed with a parade. But first, here's the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
I was 17 and in love, and I thought he loved me too. But now I know that a loving partner should not take away your choice of clothes you wear or the music you listen to. He should not take away your purse, car keys, or your phone so that when your family calls, you cannot answer. If your partner is controlling you, it is domestic violence. Call 0800 A Way Out or our cell phone number 672-9628. This message is brought to you by the National Women's Commission in collaboration with Miss Universe Belize, with funding from the Engender and Spotlight Project.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos. Y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
The National Garifuna Council of Belize will be hosting its annual convention over the weekend. Members will be going through the process of electing a new leader since NGC President Sandra Miranda has served the maximum 2 terms allowed. As a first, the entire convention will be held virtually. We spoke to President Miranda about what members can expect.
Today, it's only the opening ceremony, so I'll be giving the welcome address. We have a guest speaker. A keynote address will be given by Mr. John Nunes, who will be in Punta Gorda. And if you know John Nunes, he born and grew up in the Garifuna tradition. In fact, he is from one of the families in PG who still speaks Garifuna to their children. And he's an educator. So I know that address will be something worth listening to as we move forward in what we are doing and in the objective for the National Garifuna Council. Tomorrow is the start of the convention where we'll have the business meetings, we'll have information, we'll update the Garifuna population on our projects, because we've been having a series of projects, and they will be updated on those projects as to where we are and how to move forward. Sunday we'll be having the election of new officers. So I'll be handing over to a new team. They take over and hopefully they will continue the work that has already been started and create more.
The Belize Defense Force and other uniformed organizations held a parade this afternoon to observe the Queen's birthday, which occurred in April, and Commonwealth Day this Monday. In addition to the Belize Defense Force, the event at the MCC grounds included the Coast Guard, Belize Red Cross, the Scout Association of Belize, and the Belize Girl Guides. According to a release from the BDF dignitaries, officially honoring Her Majesty included the Acting Governor General of Belize, the Prime Minister, Minister of National Defense and Border Security, the Leader of the Opposition, and the Chief Justice of Belize, as well as members of the Diplomatic Corps. News 5's Kenroy Michael was at the parade grounds today.
Today we have the Queen's Birthday Parade, which is a commemorative date to celebrate Her Majesty the Queen's birthday. Although it is not today, this is the weekend it is normally celebrated throughout the Commonwealth. On parade, we had members of the Belize Defense Force, the Belize Police Department, the Belize Coast Guard, and members of the Scouts Association.
Could you explain to me what was the symbolic meaning or gesture of the flag?
It's the Queen's standard. So that is the standard to raise in reverence to her. So it is the standard that only the Queen is allowed to raise or lower. So we do it for this day only, which is her birthday.
Arm!